Hello, 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 and good day to you. Welcome to the Lonely TARDIS, your journey with Time Lords through space with three lovely companions. I had to change that intro for this week because Sean felt it was really bad that we were journeying through Time Lords.
Well, wait a minute. I love that. I haven't changed that intro in 15 years. What are you talking about?
50. Oh, God, has it been that long that we've been recording this?
It feels like it. I don't know.
It may be longer. It may
15,
be longer.
50, 500? I don't know.
600. I'm Dolly Domofsky. That's Sean Norton. This wonderful, lovely young man here is the keeper of gates, Mr. Coffee McSneezy Marcus Beer.
There's a new variant going around called Flirt.
It is called Flirt. Yeah.
Yes, it flirted with me, and I'm still coughing afterwards.
I did not flirt with you. Gentlemen, hello.
Hi.
It's been a whole long time since we last.
Too long since we were last in the same room together.
Man, amazing. Actually, yeah. For those that didn't watch or listen to our previous episode, we had gotten together in beautiful Los Angeles and enjoyed each other's company and talked all about Doctor Who over in Marcus's home. He was very kind enough to let us arrive and steal things. Sorry, I stole so many things from your house, including pizza. And we got to talk and check out some cool Doctor Who shows that were there. What was that show that we were watching? Kind of behind the scenes. Yes, yeah, very cool stuff. And we're gonna.
I stood where he is sitting, and I touched.
You did.
I touched every single thing on his shelves.
Yeah, no wonder he's sick now.
Not with my fingers.
I know he's sick because he licked some things he shouldn't have been licking.
As I say, not with my fingers.
Yeah. But we have a terrific episode today. We're going to talk about the Legend of Ruby Sunday, and we may even talk about Tales of the TARDIS towards the end of this, if you gents have had a chance to watch. Gents, hello. It's so great to talk to you again. Let's dive right into the Legend of Ruby Sunday, because it is late here on the East Coast, and it's early for Marcus on the West.
Just getting started.
He's just getting started with his eating. In this episode, the Doctor arrives in Unit in the modern era and decides, I want to find out about Ruby's mother. Let's see if we can figure out the identity. In the meantime, Unit's been tracking somebody named Susan Triad. Doctor thinks, oh my goodness, that might be my daughter, Susan, because we've seen her. Granddaughter. We've seen her everywhere, so maybe that's her. Decides to see if they can use Unit's special time machine viewing time window cinema. Thank you. It's Dolby Atmos based. To see if they can see Ruby's mother the night that Ruby was dropped off at the home, and then decides to go find out about Susan Triad, and that all leads to the reveal that Susan Triad isn't his granddaughter. She is, in fact, some sort of minion, I guess is a good way to say it, of the return of Sutek, who is voiced by Gabriel Wolf, by the way, the original Sutek voice. Gents,
that's incredible. That was like 100 years ago, and that guy's back doing the voice.
That guy's almost as old as Marcus. What did you guys think of this episode? I want to start with Sean first.
No. Start with Marcus. Okay. Marcus has a list.
Yeah,
he has a list. And I feel like I could be wrong. I feel like he's gonna put on a clinic, and I just kind of want to like sit back. I wish I had a smoke. I would just like put my feet up because I feel like he's about to just like he's about to just he's like a master class. Like I'm ready.
Ready? Here we go. This is what's gonna be like. Hold on. Go.
Welcome to the TED Talk.
Welcome to the TED. Sutek.
Okay.
Sutek.
Sutek, the big bad that we didn't see coming. And look.
Well, because he's invisible for the first part of the episode. That's why.
But I mean, the ins and outs of the episode. This is an episode that was the first half of it was just fluff and flaff. I mean, oh, look at us, we can connect a videotape to a time window, and we can go back and we can ringu the whole fucking thing up. The episodes obviously starts off with the TARDIS, skidding right into unit like it does. With this is Russell T's preferred thing now. It's like gold standard. The Doctor's in the hizzy. What? And of course, we have to introduce the Doctor to everybody and shake hands and this, that, and the other. And I'm so delighted that they got Rose back. I mean, I'm so delighted that actor who is probably a really lovely person, but cannot act, shouldn't be anywhere near. I'm guessing Catherine Tate was probably a little too busy or a little too expensive to come back for a couple of 20 minutes or whatever. I could have done without all that. I could have done without the TARDIS skidding in and look at me. I mean, I did like the Doctor's leather jacket, by the way. But I mean, this whole hi, how are you? Hi, who are you? What's all this? This, that, the. And that just took up fucking 10 minutes of the show, introducing everybody. Shirley Ann Bingham's gone. Where's she gone? All of a sudden, we got Lenny Rush, who's an award-winning little young man who's an award-winning comedic actor. He actually won a BAFTA, I think, for one of his performances in a comedy show.
Really?
But, yeah, apparently he's
talking about the 13-year-old super genius.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Really? Okay.
Yeah, you should. I mean, look him up. I mean, he's.
I will.
Yeah. It's just I could have done without that faff. I could have done without the, and this is something that is has been getting worse and worse as the show this season under Russell T Davies has progressed. And I think it might just be, like Sean said in the last episode, this is how Russell T Davies wants to do his Doctor, and his Doctor is somebody who's going to be, oh, look, I've just landed. I'm going to introduce myself to everybody. Hi, how are you? Blah, 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 blah. And we're going to have a cup of tea. And three fucking hours later, the episode has ended, and he's still saying hello to someone. So we have all this, and the fucking hugging. And everything is hugging. I mean, the Doctor's turned up a unit because I want to know what is going on with this particular person. She's been popping up in my last 6 adventures, 7 adventures, 8 adventures. I have seen her. What is she doing? But first, everybody, let's hug Rose. Let's hug so-and-so's this. Who's this person? Henrietta Arbinger or whatever her name is, because they never give her last name. So they introduced the unit advisor by his full name, and then the person who actually does have a major plot is
Harriet, right?
In this. Yeah, Harriet Arbinger just gets Harriet. So why would you just say Harriet Arbinger? Because then, he's Arbinger. Yeah, I know. I was down there with the shit Beatles, and yeah, look at that. But no, I mean, and it's lazy writing by Russell. It's filler writing. And, every episode he's going on, it's going to be terrifying, and it's going to be this, and it's going to be the most fantabulous episode of Doctor Who I've ever written. And he's getting a little too much now because he just needs to dial it back. Sorry to go off on this tangent. And
Do you think... I'll tell you, I don't mean to derail you. Do you think they're doing this? Because it reminded me a little bit of like when Torchwood crossed over with Doctor Who before Torchwood got its own spin-off. Do you think they're doing this and he's writing it this way because he's going to spin this off into like Unit 2024, 25?
Well, Unit's supposed to they are supposed to be getting a spin-off, but that's
yeah.
Right. But they don't need to introduce absolutely everyone. And then not only that, it's
almost like a soft pilot.
But every single person the Doctor's introduced to, he shakes his hand. He's like, "Oh, I bet you a hug," and this, and it just doesn't have to be done. And so, we are getting through this, and there's actually a genuinely interesting, subplot going on here, or the main plot, which should be the main plot, of Sutek and Susan Triad, and the whole S-Triad technology. Because I mean, Susan Triad got Triad got mentioned in The Giggle when Donna and the Doctor come back, and she's like, "What are you using?" And Mel says, "Oh, we're using Triad." So there's that, and I think I sent you some of the screen grabs that you actually saw on the Christmas special on the side of the bus.
He's been weaving this one for a while.
Which is good, just like he did with Bad Wolf.
With Harold Saxon when he was the MP in the Christmas special before this season. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's all great. And get into that and getting interested in that's the crux of the matter. I don't need to see him starting a knitting circle. And now, obviously, as the episode goes, we do see a little bit more of angry Shooty Doctor when he decides to punch an elevator door for some reason. Maybe it is the George Michael leathers that are just. But So Sutekh is obviously the bad guy from the Pyramids of Mars. He's an Osiran god. He is the worst of the Osiran gods, and all the other Osiran gods banded together to put him in jail. And then in the early 1900s, I will say that I do like the fact that they've called out the pillaging and the looting of the temples by the English as for what it was, looting and pillaging. So there's a huge issue in the UK right now about the Parthenon marbles, which are marble statues that were stolen from Greece by English people, by a guy named Lord Elgin. They're always lords, aren't they? They're always lords. That's it. I'm Lord this, that, and the other. I'm just going to fucking rob you blind. But yeah, the fact that Sutekh is the totally unexpected one, and it goes back to Pyramids of Mars, and it sent me back to Pyramids of Mars. Now, this is one of my favorite stories. I've got the book somewhere. I've seen it so many times. I think I told the boys one of the first Doctor Who episodes I saw in color. And I just watched Pyramids of Mars. And I watched Tom Baker's performance in Pyramid of Mars. And I watched Shooty's performance over this season of Doctor Who. And I'm sorry, I may be old and I may be gatekeeping here, and I want to love Shooty because he's had his moments. But his doctor's just such a fucking wuss. For somebody who has been through therapy, this therapy just turned him into somebody who will cry at the slightest thing. He may have prostate cancer. This doctor might have prostate cancer because I have the same treatment that's turned me, or I have the treatment for prostate cancer, which has turned me into somebody who cries at the drop of a hat. And that's the only thing I can think of, is that he's on testosterone deprivation therapy. Because I want to see Leia's in the Doctor. I want to see him angry. I want to see him upset. I want to see him cry, but I don't want to see him cry every fucking week. And you just look, he's supposed to be above us. He's supposed to be, he doesn't view himself as above us, but he's incredibly smart. He's seen all this stuff. And there's nothing right now after the giggle. The giggle was very promising. But since then, this season, we've had some banging episodes. But Shooty's performances have just been, and maybe it's because he came in halfway through the season. He couldn't film everything. He was off filming Sex Education. He didn't really have a chance to build his character before being dropped into things. Maybe his character will evolve, and I hope so. But I'm really beginning to not like him as the Doctor. This version of the Doctor is just somebody that has two speeds: crying your eyes out and super whimsical. And there's no other aspects. And I really, I was relieved when I saw him punch an elevator door, because I'm like, great, we're going to see something. But no, yet again, he's terrified of everything. He was terrified of Jinx Monsoon. He was terrified. When you see him talking about Sutekh, and you could see the fear on his face. I don't need to see that fear. The Doctor it doesn't feel like the Doctor right now. It doesn't feel like what I've been programmed after, numerous years. And this is why I put Keeper of Gates on my thing today, because I don't mean to be a gatekeeper. And I really like Ncuti Gatwa. I think he's a great actor. I just wish he'd be let off the leash a little. And it feels like he's being restrained. And it feels like this season, as we get to the end, is becoming a bit of a muddle, and will not be following on from what was a mediocre Christmas special. It doesn't really bear more than a one rewatch. So maybe everything will be cleaned up in the final episode. But yeah, I just wanted to get all that off my chest, because the idea of Sutek coming back is brilliant and bonkers and wonderful. But if I see one more fucking picture of the Doctor crying or the Doctor terrified, come on. Survived for 2,500, 3,000 years. You got infinite regenerations. You know, own it a little, you know? It doesn't have to be everybody's friend. He can be a little more three-dimensional. So there you go. I'm sorry. Sean's going to sleep.
Sean, what's your rebuttal and what are your thoughts on this episode? Not this episode, but the Doctor Who episode. That was a lot to take in, by the way, Marcus.
I'm sorry. It's just been, like I said, after watching this, and I watched The Horror of Fang Rock, and I watched a bunch of other Tom Baker ones. And there is, you see fear, you see sadness, you see anger, but you see all these emotions and everything in between. And I know Ncuti Gatwa's got it in him because he's a very talented actor, and I would just love to see that unleashed. And I think, again, much like with Jodie Whittaker, Russell T Davies right now is pandering to Russell T Davis's views and not really pushing Ncuti as he should.
I wish I had taken notes.
Cancelled.
I wish I had taken notes. I don't. So I went back and I watched the Pyramids of Mars.
Same.
And that was the first time I had seen that. I had heard about it. I had heard it was one of the better serials. I had heard it was one of the better Baker's run. And he's your Doctor, right, Marcus? Like he's your doc before the new docs, right? Before the Tenants.
He was the first one I remember watching. I mean, the Machine is the first episode.
Yeah, and I appreciated it for what it was. I remember you guys were texting. You were like, the mummy design, the robot mummies were incredible. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I think a lot of how people perceive and react to Doctor Who can be viewed through the lens of how they were first introduced to the show. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for me, that was Tennant's third or fourth season. Yep. And then right into Smith and then Capaldi. Then I went back, or Tennant and back to Eccleston, whatever. I never had the old Doctors. Like I didn't have that experience. I didn't have that exposure. So for me to go back and watch a Tom Baker's run and all the cheesy, campy 70s, 80s, effects and storytelling, whatever, plus him chewing the scenes and everything and the way he portrayed his Doctor, I absolutely see him as the Doctor, but I don't see him in the same realm as a Tennant or a Smith or a Capaldi or a Ncuti. And I think if people started the show today and then went back and tried to watch the Tennant episodes and some of the earlier ones before they really started getting a little bit more budget to play with Smith and especially Capaldi, I think they probably feel the same way I do about trying to go back and watch Baker or Sylvester Renee. So I understand where you're coming from with the fact that if you compare the two directly, Tom Baker's Doctor is like whoosh, compared to Ncuti's. I don't agree. I think again, we talked about it last episode, he is a take on the Doctor we've never really seen before, which is charisma. As much charisma as there is, there's also as much heart on the sleeve. And I know that the heart on the sleeve stuff is bugging you because we're not seeing that balanced enough with either the genius intellect or the bravery or the come on, I'm the Doctor, I dare you to try, right? Like step up. And I feel like that's by design. I mean, even in the Tales of the TARDIS, which I assume we'll touch on today, they're sitting in the memory TARDIS and he's got the blanket over him and he's scared. I like that. I like that because going back and watching the Pyramids of Mars and how close, I think, if I watched the episode correctly, how close the Doctor really was to losing and having Sutek take over. And that's staying with him 2,000 years later in his memory, where now this super crazy powerful enemy is back, almost beat him last time, took everything he could at the time to trap him. And now he's even more powerful. He was a humanoid thing then. Now he's I don't know what the hell that was, dog, god, titan, deity thing. Yeah. Like, I like that. As much as I do miss, and maybe I'm on sort of a time delay, like, if we're having this same conversation in the middle of next season and we're not seeing him sort of evolve into more of that confident Doctor, he has swagger, but you're right, he's scared of, and I think I give that sort of a pass because he's dealing with way more powerful beings than we've seen in a long time. And again, I don't count the flux and shit like that. Then I probably would be more with your perspective. But as it is today, I'm fine with it because it feels refreshing to me. And I don't think we're there yet. For me, I don't think we're there yet where we were with Jodie and the writing and the loss of potential, because we have seen episodes like Boom, and we have seen episodes like Dot and Bubble and Rogue, and 73 Yards was Ruby. But we've already have so much more that has shown him off as his type of Doctor and his talented acting. And he's still, regardless of what he went through with the Bi-Generation and doing therapy in reverse order, he is still a product of everything that has happened since Smith 1, right? So I'm good with it. I like it. I'm not saying, I haven't even begun to dissect the episode itself yet and all the Russell T Davies isms in there, which you touched on a lot of those. But when it comes to this version of the Doctor, I am still enjoying this ride. Because I'm hopeful that this is the start of what will be a sort of like more emotional, more charismatic, more heart on the sleeve, I guess I keep repeating myself, that then will mold into that confidence. He will get that confidence back. He will get that bravery back. Or maybe he won't. But for now, I'm enjoying that ride because it feels so different from the last 4 that have come before.
So I get your point totally. The first counterpoint, or the first thing I will throw out there is Russell T's first season of Doctor Who with Eccleston. An episode called Dalek. When we got to see when Christopher Eccleston's Doctor was trapped in that room he saw the Dalek and he was hammering to get out. And you saw that fear on his face. That, even though whatever issues I have personally, with Eccleston and some of the shit he said about the show over the years, that, and you look at his entire run, that entire season, we have the insanity, we have the Doctor dancing, we have the moments of levity, we have the moments of seriousness, we have the fear, and we have the anger. I have yet to see anything beyond just the basic, he's scared, he's crying, he's hugging someone. And that's the thing. And you're right, it's a new take for a new generation, and I don't mix with many people of that age because I'm 53. I don't hang out with the youngins. I don't know how they do this stuff. And it's also written from a perspective of a Britain I no longer know. It's not the Britain I left in 99. Hopefully for the better in a lot of ways. It is more multicultural. It is more diverse. And that is a brilliant thing. So yeah, that is the reason that it bugs me. And I do get what you're saying about Tom Baker. I really do. But yeah, I think that, like I said, I really hope to see, I was hoping for more out of Shruti. And I think by default, I'm hoping for more out of Russell T Davies, because
I guess. Sorry.
No, go on.
No, you finish. You're hoping for more out of RTD because
I know it's in him.
Oh yeah,
I know it's in him. I mean, at the end of the day, he's written so many episodes of this season, and Boom is still probably the best because he didn't write it. He is a master at shaping a season, getting those little bits in, but he can crawl up his own ass when he's writing. We know this. Not as bad as Chibnall, but yeah, I just maybe, like I said, maybe it's a Doctor Who reflecting of a time and a generation and a societal shift that I don't understand. Even though Russell T Davies is 4 years older than me, but he obviously understands that he moves in that world, and more power to him. I'm
sure he has people that help him do that too.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this next episode is going to be is different, but I'm not that hopeful at the end of the day because I've seen the fucking images that have been leaked of him looking of Shooty looking upset, Shooty on the back of a bike with Mel.
Probably getting out of the Susan Triad back to unit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Before we move on, I there's a comment in the chat that I can see this show, about him still being traumatized and putting on a facade of smiling until he makes it. I don't know. It's possible. It's possible we're going to find out that the trauma is more deep rooted and he put on a brave face for 14 and everything. But I would hope not necessarily, because that kind of undermines some of the push around bi-generation and doing therapy in reverse.
Absolutely.
And having that clean slate. I absolutely respect and understand where the comment is coming from, and we'll see. But I like the idea more that this is a different take on masculinity. Like you mentioned, hugging people. You mentioned being comfortable crying. Debatable if that crying is happening too much or not.
That's my only problem. I have no problem with hugging. Yeah, look, we see each other. We hug.
I'm a hugger.
I'm a hugger too. I am a hugger, especially if I haven't seen anybody in a long time. And I am a crier. I mean, especially with my cancer meds, I cry at the stupidest of things. But when you're looking at a 45 to 55 minute TV show, I don't need to see him hug everybody on the fucking set over and over. That's all. I mean, that's all I'm asking. Is just let's get a little bit more story. We know he loves to hug. Great. I would love a hug from Shooty Gatwa, to be honest. He looks like a world-class hugger. There's two people in this world I would like to hug. Jurgen Klopp, former manager of Liverpool, and Shooty. And I think they'd give the best hugs. Absolutely. I just don't need to see it every single episode for about three fucking hours. So I'm sorry. I just ranted on about that. But you actually raised it when you talked about, about the therapy in reverse and everything, because that's what I felt was he's getting this clean slate.
Yeah.
And it's like he's not getting the therapy. The therapy is still ongoing or something, and he's still trying to get in touch with his inner timeless TARDIS child thing.
I don't know. I think this is the end result. I think this is a more... well, I guess the debate is that if it's not well balanced, but it was balanced too far in the other direction, which is, I think, you're feeling.
Look, we're the ones who should be crying after the timeless child on the flux. We should be crying and needing help.
Oh, I did.
Dolly, man.
Yeah, hey, I love this episode. I love this episode because I
didn't even get to that part.
Yeah, because I felt like it was tying up some of the threads from the whole season. The Susan twist or the Susan Triad stuff, I felt was answered. She's just a minion. I felt the Sutek stuff was great because he was coming. All these minions throughout history were placed there to go after the doctor who imprisoned this deity. So I thought that was great. I love that the Ruby. This is called the Legend of Ruby Sunday, and the Legend of Ruby Sunday ends up focusing on Sutek and not so much on Ruby Sunday. We don't find out who it is until we got that very last scene where we're just about to find out. But I feel like they've woven that into the fabric, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a big tie between Ruby Sunday and Sutek and some of those other aspects. So I loved it. I love the doctor being not necessarily scared in this episode, but he was definitely, it was a frenetic feeling. He was frazzled this whole episode, trying to figure out, he's like, wait a minute, that can't be my granddaughter, but I guess it is. And it's what I found interesting about that was this was filmed a year ago, more than a year ago, and fans, Russell T did such a great job of getting people to think that this was Susan, his granddaughter. He put those little carrots, little Easter eggs in so many episodes where the internet every message board was this is his granddaughter, and for him to play it up to the very end this episode, say no, it's not his granddaughter, just a minion.
He took all the fan theories in the first 5 minutes after the hugging and threw them all at the viewer, and then all of them were wrong.
And it was great
awesome.
writing. It was great writing.
It was awesome.
It was him saying, "I knew you were going to think this because I planned for you to think this. Here we go." And I thought that was great. It kept me engaged the entire time. By the end, we find out who Sutekh is. I had never watched Pyramid of Mars because I'm not an old Who watcher. And I know the overwhelming majority of Doctor Who fans today are probably not old Who watchers, and that's totally fine. Most people probably joined with Tennant, with Smith, I know I'm giving Marcus another heart attack right now. But
he's gonna walk out again.
But I really feel like Modern Who is Modern Who because of that, right? So there you go, Tom Baker. I felt like it going back to that and watching that was great for me, at least to get some backstory, because all of a sudden I Googled Sutekh like every other fan who's watching New Who did the same thing. I saw all these conversations on social media for people discovering the Pyramids of Mars for the first time. And I thought that was really cool. I thought that was great. I thought, okay, this is a great link, a correct type of link to go back to. Really well done.
You two have hosted this Doctor Who podcast for about 1 billion years. Yeah. And you haven't gone back and watched all the classic shit.
No.
Actual effing in the A.
Listen, thank you to Tubi for having them right now to be able to watch it. But that works out really nicely because they will watch all this.
I have a hard time with it, but anyway, I don't want to derail Dolly again.
Same. But no, overall, I really enjoyed it. I love that they brought Unit back in, same set, same everything. Great materialization. I thought the who's the unit director? Her name.
Kate Stewart.
Kate Lethbridge Stewart.
Yep. I thought at the point where she says, "Here it comes," I'm like, okay, that's a little cheesy. Whoever it is, here he comes. I'm like, okay, it's a little cheesy. Didn't need to go that far, but I really enjoyed this episode. It was a fun episode for a predominantly New Who watcher. I thought this was great. It had my heart racing because it felt like revelation after revelation after revelation. And to me, that's perfect Friday night viewing. Like I was hook, line, and sinker. I'm ready for the finale this week because of what I watched. Great cliffhanger. I want to know about Ruby's history. I want to know where Sutekh goes. I want to know more about Susan Triad.
They have a lot to wrap.
They do. It's a long episode as well. I think it's like 59 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Is it good?
I loved it. I loved the episode. And I am all in on this Doctor because of that, because he carries a history of being the Doctor, and at the same time, he is and we'll maybe after the season is over, we'll talk about the portrayal of the Doctor during the season. But I loved it. I thought it was great.
Did it annoy you at all, Dolly, that we didn't get the reveal of the mother?
No, it didn't. It didn't annoy me because I had a feeling they weren't going to do it this episode. I thought they would, if it was going to happen, it was going to be either at the very end of this episode or probably at the beginning-ish of the finale, maybe.
It better be somebody powerful, and it better not be. My theory is still in some form that she either dropped herself off, or she's some sort of what are they called? The what are they called? Pantheon character or Pantheon tangential character. The fact that they went through this time, this is silly. I'm in the weeds now, but I'm coming back down after Marcus insulted our boy for 15 minutes. But
come on now, that's unfair. But no, I'm going to take. I know you love to take the piss, and I'm normally okay with it. I'm not being insulting Shooty. Like I said, I think he's a fantastic.
I was talking about Russell T Davies.
And you know what? Yeah, I can fucking look. We're both West Glam Theatre alumni. We're both from Southwest Wales. We're both in our mid-50s, and he should fucking know better.
Anyways, I still think that I think that there is I feel like there's going to be a granddaughter link to this, and I almost feel like
there better be.
I almost feel like we're going to get Carol Ann Ford being the one who delivers Ruby as her own granddaughter or her mother or something, and saying, this is who it is. And Doctor, you've been traveling with someone that is very, very related to you in a way. Anyway, so I loved it. Loved the episode. Thought it was great.
But the TARDIS would have scanned and flagged her as a Time Lord, so
yeah,
he's got Gallifreyan DNA.
Yeah, she's.
So I'm just, because I mean, we know that from obviously Wild Blue Yonder, the TARDIS scanned Donna, and the fake Donna had 1/4 of a billionth of an inch too much wrist or something.
Yeah. Well, whoever she is, she's powerful. I mean, there's a window in the 10th floor or the 10 floors down on Unit that you can put a fucking VHS tape in, and because of the snowflakes, you could actually open a window in time and see everything and interact with things, and you still couldn't see her face. So
she pointed behind the Doctor because she knew.
Up until this, it was a mystery, and the Ruby's snowing, and there were hints that there's some power at play here. But now that they've done the time window thing, and now that they have recreated that entire moment from, what was it, 99 or whatever, except her face, it's just like, man, the payoff here now has to be even higher,
isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, just kill me. Just kill me.
Yeah, because she's 19.
In any case, now that I've
Stefan actually just dropped an interesting comment in the comment section. The last one, I think, that's quite interesting. I honestly didn't really. I'm not fussed on finding out who the mother is now. It's just blown to such a degree that blown up to such a degree that I think anything is going to be an anticlimax, especially when dealing with Sutek. I am interested to see who Mrs. Flood is after she's left alone with
Cherry,
Ruby's gran, and the darkness is coming and blah blah blah. I don't know if you noticed when she came into that apartment, the electrical clock went on the fritz.
Yeah.
So she's giving us some sort of field.
I did not.
I'd love to see how he.
I think I would love if she was related to the Flood from Jodie's era. I think that'd be a good way to tie some stuff in.
Do you think she's a red herring? Because I think Russell T Davies said that most, but not all, things will be wrapped up, and a couple things will be held for next season. Do you think she is Sutek related, or do you think she's her own thing?
The mother,
Susan Flood.
Oh, Susan,
or Mrs. Flood. Mrs. Flood. Sorry. Yeah.
I think a little bit of both. I feel like both.
It's obvious she's tapping. She's saying, I mean, unless it's the biggest of all fucking coincidences. He is coming and the sky is getting dark. And actually, I wasn't talking about Fred Sutek. I was talking about his cousin, Colin Sutek, who also fixes windows.
But she broke the fourth wall in that episode,
the Christmas special. Yeah. And that's the other thing. The fourth wall's got broken quite a few times initially. So let's see how that goes. But I'd love to see how he figures out that he can bring back Sutek, because at the end of Periods of Mars, the Doctor sent him way beyond his own accelerated life, and it was about 8,000 years, and he died. He killed Sutek by sending him well beyond the threshold of when he should have been alive. So what's Russell T going to do with this? Now, this is also the second old school Who character that Russell T has brought back. Obviously, we had the Celestial Toy Maker, and I find it interesting that the two that he's picked upon when Toy Maker, where we had the really uncomfortable in the original version, the Yellow Peril kind of feel about it, and the Asian or the Oriental, and I don't like using that word, but I mean that was the vibe they gave of the Toy Master. When you look at Pyramids of Mars, that also shows off a really nasty part of British history and the BBC in particular, even because they're all savages and the Egyptians when we're raiding their tombs. They're savages. They run off. They're stupid. They're this. They don't want to help me steal all their stuff because they're savages and they're brown and this, that, and the other. And I think the fact that this is the second one, maybe he is kind of retconning, because he grew up in my era of Who. We both had the same doctors. He may have beat me by Pertwee may have been his first, but at the end of the day, he went through the Tom Baker run as much as anybody. So yeah, I just find it interesting, and I'm wondering if we're going to see if there's going to be a recurring theme. Now, I'm very happy for him to mine the past, and we haven't seen Daleks, we haven't seen Cybermen, we haven't seen the Master, which is great. They'll come back at some point, and I'm sure he'll do a good job with them. There are so many others that we can go back and see. And do and revisit, and there's things I want him to revisit, like the Rani, and because at some point she's going to turn up, and I'm just going to go, I could die now, and I will. But yeah, when we got to that end with Sutek, it felt like that was the closing scenes where you had the auto cue, and it was the words were just jumbling and changing, and then it's like Susan Triad. No, it's not TARDIS. Oh my God, it's the wrong anagram. Sutek. That felt very Russell T. That felt very, for me, reminded me a lot of Children of Earth, the Torchwood miniseries, the 4-episode event where we had the we are coming tomorrow, and it just felt that. And when Russell writes like that final 10 minutes was pretty great. It really was. Actually, from the moment he stepped into the time window and he burst out laughing, you really patched this together. That was something. He wasn't trying to be cruel, but he was having that was a different thing that we've seen from Ncuti. And I would actually go as far to say in this episode, we've probably seen more aspects of him than we have perhaps in the previous
whole season. I think the whole season.
Yeah. But he took the piss out of the time window, and then we saw how the time window thing was working, and I really liked how they were doing that. And then it's like, oh, what's this? The TARDIS? What's going on with the TARDIS? And that was tied in, and all that stuff. That final, from that segment on, was really, really interesting. The interaction with Susan Triad, where it's like you've been having dreams, and that obviously shook her, and she was obviously, doesn't realize what's going on. So those bits were absolutely top quality writing, performance, everything. The bits that came before just felt like a bit of a waste. It was a bit of a fat that could have been trimmed off. We didn't need to see Doctor's in the house and everybody's going to go high five and we're all going to dance and this, that, and the other. Just need a little bit less of that. But I still, go on.
No, I was thinking while you were talking about that, they were terrified of the TARDIS. You never see anybody terrified of the TARDIS. TARDIS was a bad guy. TARDIS was the bad guy. And the looking back on, and I don't know if you guys sent me the montage or whatever, as far back as Wild Blue Yonder, when it groans, and then it groans again in, I don't know if it's Christmas special, it groans again in the Beatles episode. It's groaned throughout the season too. This is one of those things, like you said, he is very good at building these massive arcs for the whole season. Between the Triad hints we missed and then the groaning TARDIS, which has now resulted in this presence, this possession, and everybody's afraid of it, and it's there, and it's in the field, and it's yellow, and it's terrifying. It was fantastic. It was an awesome reveal. Like, just one of the best parts of that last 10 minutes, like you were talking about.
The last time the TARDIS groaned like that was the last episode of Matt Smith's run, where Clara was stuck on the outside of the TARDIS holding on to it, and it had to generate the force field, and it was groaning and wheezing through the through the effort. So yeah, I didn't even pick up on the groaning until this episode. But then, I will say, to see Sutek revealed like that, having gone from guy in a mask sitting in a pyramid in Mars.
Yeah.
I thought, it was really cool the way they've done it. And will we see more sirens? The other thing I sent you I sent you a link on Twitter yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw it. That this was called back in Sarah Jane Adventures. They were talking about a mission to Mars that Sarah Jane had foiled. And they show this footage of Mars, and in the background you see the fucking Pyramid of Mars. And I mean, that is great. I mean, that's from something that's probably a decade ago, touching back to something that's 5 decades ago. I mean, it's and that's when I think he sings. That's when his writing sings, his attention to detail.
He's been able to go back and like minorly retcon some things to make them seem like they were all this part of this tapestry,
as opposed to throwing everything out like I'm killing off the universe and
and I'm going to make you a completely different. Exactly. I know we've been going a long time. There's two things I want to touch on really quick.
Sure.
That I believe is the same voice actor. I guess now 2.5 things. I hope they go back to some form of humanoid for Sutek. I hope it is not an entire episode of CG dog. I get it. He's a god now, but I hope he's like, I choose to take this form. I just think it would be better. I think it would. I would enjoy that more personally. They referenced him as the Beast, and the voice I want to say I read was the same for that character as well. I would be very interested to see if Russell ties this into the Beast Below. No, was that what it was called? Satan Planet.
Impossible Planet.
To see if it's the Impossible Planet in Satan, but to see if this is some version of either the character or some sort of relation to the character, and it's timey-wimey shit with the black hole. I'm very curious about that because they went out of their way to say the Beast a couple times. And this is a tiny thing, but it's going to bother me if there's not a throwaway line next week about how 14 is off planet somewhere. Because otherwise, I cannot abide the Doctor chilling out in Donna's like garden while Sutek is destroying the Earth. Like I can't. Like I need somebody to say like, oh man, where's the new Tenant Doctor? Oh yeah, he says one of his rare times he's off doing therapy on Callisto 7 or some shit. Give me anything. Give me anything that will explain why David Tennant does not show up next week to help save the world. That's all I got.
Yep. Okay. Well. We said a lot about this episode in this episode, one of our longer episodes of this season, which is totally fine, and kind of a monumental episode because it is the penultimate episode, penultimate episode of the season. Before we give our final ratings of this and move on, I did want to ask, did you guys catch the Tales of the TARDIS, the mini-sode?
Of course.
It was a very mini-sode. It was very, very short.
The TARDIS campfire scene.
Well, do you notice what the TARDIS campfire was? It was a model of the last TARDIS. Because if you look at it, what was keeping them warm was actually Jodie's TARDIS, with the crystalline columns. So it's literally like they're in a TARDIS junk room.
Yeah.
I watched it. I thought it was great how it fits in. If that, I mean, the fact that it gave everybody a 3 to 5 minute recap on the Pyramids of Mars was great. The fact that if people don't know to look for it, they will miss out on a lot of stuff. Would much rather, again, harping on about the same thing, take out 5 minutes of cuddles, put that fucker in before the show starts next week or tomorrow. 24 hours, less than.
Where does it fit in, though? Like, he's in there with Ruby. They're both in the memory TARDIS, which is still a thing I've been wrapping my head around. Where, when, how, like, I don't disagree with you about... I don't disagree with you about putting it in front of the episode, but I think it would confuse a lot of people because it would be very jarring to go from inside of a TARDIS that is an amalgamation of all the other TARDI, and then into the episode where it left off, where he's with Susan about to get, Sutek and whatever else.
I don't think it matters. I honestly don't think it matters. I think it's...
But what is where? Okay.
Personally, I mean, I don't think... I think it's just one of those fun aspects in the extended Whoniverse that's... and they said that it does tie in. It is canon, but I think it's just fun canon rather than
that's fine. But then I disagree that it should go in front of the episode because it's just bad storytelling.
That's just for me. For me, it's just something that I'm throwing out there because
I think it should be on Disney for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
In the extras section.
Yep.
But I don't think it should go right in front of the episode unless they're going to explain it and tie it in. That's my personal opinion.
Sure.
But I think it goes back to the point Marcus has made all season where Disney should be doing a lot better job with this.
They should be.
And we should have a lot more extra content than we get currently in America. So
I think part of that problem is likely just the rights, the whole rights thing with Doctor Who and who can do what and all that stuff. But yeah. Okay.
But you're telling me Disney didn't lock down all those rights?
Yeah, no.
I mean, come on. And it's the new Who with a new production company, with the BBC presenting it.
The older stuff.
So there's a lot of stuff that they could be doing. But anyway, that's
let's give our rating on this episode. What should we use? Should we use
Siren Gods?
Siren VHS tapes. Let's use VHS tapes.
How many snowflakes?
VHS. I think you guys are snowflakes right now. I'm feeling like a snowflake because I'm about to melt.
What
the
fuck was that? What are you doing?
Do not address the key to
absolutely 100%.
How many VH Osiris demons do you guys give this episode? Marcus.
All right. If I could take that first 10 minutes out, I'm going to get and just square that away and just put it in a little black hole. I'm going to give the rest of the show 6 out of 5 because honestly, I know on the last episode I was ranting on Russell, and at the beginning of this episode I've been ranting on Russell, and but this was, when you take out the pet peeves, this was a phenomenally strong episode, especially once you got into the time window.
Yeah. Okay. I'm 5 out of 5. It's almost 5 out of 5 for me. I loved it. Sean.
I'm probably between a 4. I'll say 4.5. But this is one of those episodes where I'm gonna probably jointly score it depending on how they stick the landing tomorrow. Sure. Like this to me is very clearly one episode split into 2 parts. So I'm probably leaning 4.5. But we'll see how tomorrow goes.
Okay, you mean today because we are officially at midnight on the East Coast, which means Doctor Who airs in about 16 hours or so. No, 18 hours. I don't even know anymore. Who knows?
Oh well, I'm in yesterday. So you're in tomorrow, and I'm in yesterday.
Yeah. See, this is a time-spanning podcast, and this is the penultimate episode of this season of the show. But we are going to have a couple episodes, obviously, afterwards. So
we say that every fucking year, and we never do. We literally, from now on, I am going to start setting you homework. We are going to record Lonely TARDIS once a month for the next couple of months. And we are going to watch just one story, Vintage Who.
Can we start with the Pyramid of Mars? Because I watched that one.
No, I'm going to stop picking them.
He's going to pick them like we pick our noses.
The Terrifying Rock. That'll be the next one. Anyway,
you can definitely need to tune in next week as we cover this wonderful magical Who finale. Until then, find us at lonelytardis.com, Lonely TARDIS on social media, and The Lonely TARDIS on YouTube. And
so tomorrow we'll find out who's the mummy. I know you should call Sutex support.
You said mummy. Oh.
But it works because we find looking at Ruby's mummy. Is she my mummy? And I still think those Osiris guards from Pyramids of Mars were fucking awesome.